Okay. Oh my goodness, we're ready to go. We are so excited to be back at Butterfield. It's been a long year and we've missed everybody so much. Hello, everyone.
So nice to see you.
I think this is like the third time we've even played out anywhere in over a year. So one of the most special places to get to come back here for y'all.
Yep.
Now, you all know that we always have low-tech PowerPoint because we're not very high-tech. So this is where we have our low-tech PowerPoint. And if I forget to put up an image, you got to yell at me because this is a brand new show.
Yeah, if you haven't heard yet, we call this Words on Birds. This is something we actually were preparing right before the pandemic hit. And then we just kind of had to shelve it for a year. And now we've kind of got it worked back up, and we're going to try it out on you guys.
Yep.
And, because I don't think it's, for those of you who know us, it's no secret that we love birds. We're kind of bird brains. and just something we love to put part of our world, but we also like to make it part of our music. And so we have slowly accumulated a whole body of bird songs.
Bird songs. So we're going to start off with our very favorite bird, the yellow-billed cuckoo. And this is actually one of the, we've been doing this particular song for as long as we've known each other, for about 25 years.
It's not our song. This is
No,
a traditional song that often thought of as an Ozark folk song.
But it kind of gets us warmed up a little bit. And hi, everybody that's watching on YouTube and out there in TV land.
And by the way, there are quite a few people we have not met before. And so I should back up a little bit.
Yeah.
My name is Kelly.
And I'm Donna.
This is Donna, and we call ourselves Still on the Hill. And we've been playing here for a long time. My mom and dad both lived here at one time, so we have a long history here at Butterfield, and really love this place. My mom was Mary Beth Mulholland. I know a lot of y'all remember my mom. So we'll start off with this traditional song. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering what a cuckoo sounds like, it doesn't go.
Oh, yeah.
Cuckoo, cuckoo.
The European cuckoo goes cuckoo, 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 but not the yellow.
Our cuckoo has a very different call. What we hear from it goes. Y'all ever heard that? There you go. All right, so here we go. We'll start off with the cuckoo. Gonna build me a log cabin on a mountain so high, so I can see the cuckoo every time she flies by. Ho, 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 ho. Well, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird. Don't I wish she was mine? She never drank water, she'd always drink wine. Oh, Jack of Diamonds, Jack of Diamonds, well, I know you of old. You robbed my poor pockets of their silver and gold. Oh, 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 oh. Well, I play cards in England. Well, I play cards in Spain. Well, I bet you $5 that I'll beat you next game. Well, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird. She warbles as she flies. She never hollers cuckoo till the 4th of July. Ho, 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 ho. Thank you. Thank y'all very, very much.
Now, some of y'all probably remember that Kelly's really good at doing bird calls. And so we decided over this last year when we were working on this show to write a whole song that gets to feature him on his amazing bird calls. Hello, everybody back there.
Y'all come on in. Well, there's some seats up front, if nothing else, so come on. Yeah, you know, that's one thing I love about Butterfly Field is that so many folks here are interested in birds and feeding the birds and watching the birds, and that's something I'm very thankful for. And these are most of the birds that we're going to talk about here in this song are birds that you have here.
Well, some are the wood birds.
A couple are not.
The towhee and the red-eyed vireo.
That's right.
But most of them.
But you'll hear some familiar characters too. So, guess I'm going to take my claws off for this. Ready?
Little Carolina Wren, he said to me, he said, the world's not always what it seems to be. Just slow down and put the kettle on, and I'll sing you a song. The wren says, tea kettle, tea kettle, tea kettle. Robin Redbreast said the early bird gets the worm. Real good advice that we all should learn. Then he sang to me, cheerily, cheer up, I'll fill your empty cup. So the robin says, cheerily, cheer up, cheerio, tut, 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 tut. Then I took a walk through the neighborhood and listened while the redbird sang so sweet. He'll be the first to greet the dawn. Pretty bird is his song. The cardinal says, pretty bird, pretty bird, wit, wit, wit.
Thank you.
Little towhee, he invited me to tea, said sit with me and hear the wild birds sing. So I poured his song into my loving cup, slowly drank it up. The towhee says, drink your tea. Then I went for a walk in the wildwood and listen to the red-eyed vireo. He can play hide and seek all day long. See me, here I am, is his song. The red-eyed vireo says, see me, here I am. See me, here I am. Then I listened to the prayer of the morning dove. He said, take time to savor all the things that you love. There's nothing more precious on this good green earth than a singing bird. Kelly!
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, that's just kind of a reminder in a way. A lot of people don't know some people are mystified by how can you learn bird songs? It seems impossible, you know. But the secret is learning those words. Looking in your bird book, and they'll have those words in your bird book.
Yep.
And it'll tell you, you know, cheerily, cheer up, cheerio, tut, tut, tut for the robin. And that's how you remember. You know, I could never do it if I didn't have the words. It helps me. Oh, okay.
Change my PowerPoint. Let's see, this one, oh, is this birdless hat, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of history in this song we're going to play for you now. You know, there's been many episodes. She's having a IT failure here.
This photo, this is an actual photo from about the early 1900s. Now, do you remember back in when in those old movies when ladies and everybody had feathers in their hats? Everybody wore hats with feathers and even birds and stuff on their hats. Really creepy. And this photo, I don't know if you can see it way in the back, you probably can't, but she has a stuffed owl, it's a taxidermy owl with a mouse in its beak on her hat.
It is hard to imagine. And, and unfortunately, there's been a lot of episodes where humans have not interacted very gracefully with birds. But luckily, there's been some good laws over the years made. Some of those laws kind of got weakened recently, and now they're being reconstructed as we speak.
We hope.
We hope. But this song is basically just a reminder of all these different episodes and how precious birds are in general.
Kelly and I, next week, in a few days, actually, we're getting ready to go to Baraboo, Wisconsin, to the International Crane Sanctuary. And they're going to have cranes from all around the world, and they're taking care of them and raising whooping cranes with puppets, and we're so excited. But this is called the Birdless Hat. Passenger pigeons, they were once so numerous. Stories tell of how a flock could blot out the summer sun. Last one in existence is stuffed in the Smithsonian. Her name is Martha, and we got to see her once. Carolina parakeet, years ago she went extinct, killed off by the farmers who thought she was a pest. Some believe that honeybees stole away her precious nest. Snowy egrets with lovely white plumes decorated all the ladies' hats in 1902. A pound of feathers was worth more than gold. We almost lost all them birds, so I am told.
Finally, Congressman John Lacey stepped in and declared, we have a seedless orange. We have a wireless telegraph. We have a crownless queen. Well, let's have a birdless hat. And he created the Lacey Act.
Red-headed woodpecker once drilled holes in old phone poles. Angry power companies put a bounty on their heads. Habitat loss and car strikes might take them down in the end. Double-crested cormorants here in Arkansas were eating minnows raised in hatcheries. So they made a law that if wildlife threatened profits, there are permits given for. Permission to just shoot them down, no one keeping score.
And during the Trump administration, they slashed 80 environmental regulations, making it near impossible to protect precious birds from human development and climate chaos.
Years ago, the whooping crane was down to 19 birds, we think. California condor was hovering right near the brink. The Endangered Species Act helped to bring them condors back.
My favorite success story was an all-out endeavor. You see, the bluebird population had reached its lowest point ever. Rachel Carson had written Silent Spring, and Boy Scouts everywhere began building nesting boxes for bluebirds. So exciting because once again the bluebirds were thriving.
European starlings, invasive and so numerous, we thought someday a flock of them might blot out the summer sun. Their numbers are declining now, someday they may all be gone, may all be gone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And luckily some of that is changing, and we're getting some of those regulations are back, and so it's not quite as sad as it sounded. By the way, you probably, Butterfield Trail is really good about bluebird houses as well. And, that's no joke. The bluebirds would probably be gone by now if it weren't.
He was a Boy Scout and made a whole bunch, maybe what, you made about like 30 boxes, yeah?
There was a merit badge.
Yep,
for
he got a
bird
merit
watching,
badge for making bluebird houses.
Yep. A long time ago. Thank you.
Well, this
All right.
next song is just kind of, I'm
We're
gonna
gonna get
play my jawbone of a mule on this, and no mules have been harmed in the making of this at all. I promise. Somebody just gave it to us. They found it in their field. He didn't have very good dental hygiene, though. He should have flossed a little more. But but I want you to use your imagination again and pretend that I'm a crow. Okay, I didn't bring my crow costume, so you just have to pretend.
All right, you ready? Here we go.
The man cut down my hickory tree, laid waste this place where I was born, turned my woods into green fields with rows and rows of good sweet corn. Don't get me wrong, I love the corn. I raid his fields most every morn, 'cause I deserve it, don't you know? I'm a big old black-eyed crow. The man he painted a hickory twig to look just like a poison snake. Hid it there among the corn to try to frighten us away. If that's a snake, then I'm a swan. Me and my friends be moving on. I ain't that gullible, you know. I'm a big old black-eyed crow. The man he stuffed overalls with hay. He hung 'em high upon a stick, made it look just like Farmer Brown, hoping that it would do the trick. But that straw hat on the scarecrow's head was a perfect perch for me instead. They say you reap just what you sow. I'm a big old black-eyed crow. Man grabbed his gun, fired around, scattered us crows, shot some down. I wish that we could get along, share the corn and share a song. That ain't the way it seems to go, 'cause he's a man and I'm a crow.
One hot and humid August night, the old men went and slept outside. In the morning, they found him barely alive, flesh ripped right from his hide. It's a tragedy, this tale of woe, but surely you've heard of a murder of crows.
The man cut down my hickory tree, laid waste this place where I was born.
All right, all right. That's good.
Oh. I'm going to play my Arkansas. And for you birders, this is a saw-whet owl.
No.
We have,
Now, if they're birders, they'll know that's not a saw-whet.
because it has...
It's a great horned owl.
Kelly needs to saw this off because the saw-whet does not have a little tuft of feathers at the top like that. But that's the way the saw looked when we got it.
So I think a lot of you are going to remember this story. This is a true story we're getting ready to tell. And it came from Arkansas.
Yep,
It
pretty
came from
weird.
Beebe, Arkansas, about just a little over 10 years ago. And this is one of the times when Arkansas made worldwide news.
We were playing in Switzerland, and we heard about this incident in Switzerland.
And it's,
So you'll remember this.
yeah, and it's all a true story. Now, so what we're talking about is when the blackbirds fell out of the sky, and the streets were just full of blackbirds in the morning.
Red wing blackbirds.
And everybody was wondering, how could this have happened? It's very concerning.
Oh, I forgot to change my PowerPoint.
Are you going to sit way up there?
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, you have it. Okay. Our PowerPoint. See, there it is. Okay. So the interesting thing when it first happened, the news was unable to figure out why it happened, and the first report said fireworks, and that didn't seem right, and so then people started guessing. And pretty soon it got silly, and people were guessing about all kinds of, chemtrails and who knows. And,
Cell phone tower
so
stuff.
Donna was listening to all this, and she made a song out of it, out of just kind of the speculation. But the correct answer is in the song, and we'll see if anybody can guess what really happened to those blackbirds.
Yeah. We'll tell you at the end.
New Year's Eve 2011, 2,000 blackbirds went to heaven. All those birds fell from the sky. Nobody seems to know the reason why.
Some say fireworks scared them all. Some say lightning caused the fall. Some say it might have been Farmer Brown. He didn't like blackbirds hanging around.
Falling birds is an ominous sign. Some folks saying it's the end of time, 'cause falling birds is an ominous sign. Hitchcock in our neighborhood.
Some say the government's up to no good.
Some say it was toxic power flowing out of cell phone towers. Some say poison caused the death. We're still waiting for the test.
What's this whole world coming to?
Isn't there something we can do? Out of sight and out of mind, we close our eyes, act like we're blind. We will reap just what we sow. The world is fragile, don't you know?
Blackbirds falling from the sky.
Canary in the coal mine. Blackbirds singing in the dead of night. Take your broken wings and fly. Creepy.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
can anybody guess what did that? What is it? Somebody have a guess? Which one? Coal mine?
no,
Good
that's
guess. Good guess. Anybody else can? It
take-
was in the song.
It's multiple choice. Okay, well, the answer is fireworks.
Not Farmer Brown. No, not Farmer Brown.
It was fireworks.
Fireworks.
It was fireworks, but it took a while. to learn.
Fireworks.
We were all just mystified. It took months before we finally got the word. Somebody finally thought, well, maybe we should look through the weather radar records. at BB Arkansas. They have all that. So they looked at it, and there was these lighting up. You know, there was a portion of it was lit up for 6 hours on that night. And they started looking into it. Turned out some teenagers were shooting bottle rockets into the woods for 6 hours.
And it was there was a rookery of red-winged blackbirds by the millions. And so they just were panicking because the kids kept doing it for 6 hours.
So fireworks normally wouldn't kill birds, but it was the duration of the event that was deadly. So what a weird episode, you know, very strange.
So has anybody ever heard of a poet? She's a well-known, really wonderful poet named Mary Oliver. And
Yeah.
I love her poems. And so one of our very favorite birds is the catbird. And it comes every spring. And Kelly and I always have a competition who hears or sees the catbird first. So I won last year, but he won this year. And so I took Mary Oliver's poem and I set it to music, but I added a verse at the end. Well, I changed some of it.
Does anybody have a cat? I know they probably don't come around the apartments too much, but maybe in the houses they might on the edge. Anybody have a catbird in their yard here? Nope, maybe. I never saw one when I was here a lot.
Explain what the catbird.
We have them in Central Fayetteville. We have lots. This is a real big year for catbirds. Almost every other house has got a catbird family.
It's in the mockingbird family, so it does a mocking call.
Yeah, people often don't know the catbird. It is one of the three mimics, such as the mockingbird, the brown thrasher, and the catbird. And it's easy to tell a catbird when it sings because, unlike the other mimics, it only sings each of its songs one time. And so it rapidly moves from one sound to another. It just sounds like a crazy
Squeaky toy.
like a cacophony of songs. I can simulate the basic.
But every now and then it throws in a meow.
Yeah, it does.
And it sounds just like a cat.
It's very well named. Listen for something like this. It goes. Like that. Thank you. All right, catbird.
So this is Mary Oliver and me.
2, 3, 4.
Down by the pond, she lives in the thicket, bids her lady to come with a flirty tale. Starts the day early making up a song. He's always cautious when the wild winds wail.
Watches the hawk with the sharpest shins, keeps a prayer under his tongue. Never in his life
Has he ever missed the rising of the sun? Catbird. He's not a rare plover, just as common as grass. I tip my hat when he passes by. He looks so jaunty in his little black cap. When he crosses my path, I'm dazzled every time. He'll never sing for the kingdom of dollars, never grow pockets in his wings. I don't understand the world he's from, but I love to hear him sing. Catbird. High in the lilac or strutting in the shadows, I've never seen him close his eyes. Whenever he's not singing, he's listening, sometimes just watching the clouds pass by. My lover waits for him to arrive patiently each spring. There's nothing that my lover loves better than to hear the catbird sing. Catbird.
Thank you very much. Catbird. Well, we thought we would switch gears. There's one song we were thinking would be fun to play that we played here many years ago, or quite a few years ago, when we had just written a whole body of work about the Buffalo River, something we are very fond of. And as you might remember, there was a bit of a battle going over a second battle with the Buffalo River because a hog factory was set up on the watershed, and a lot of people were concerned about the water quality. And so we decided to write a whole body of work about that album to bring, just to remind everybody what a precious thing this river is.
And they're historical songs about the river. And Ken Smith wrote the book, Buffalo River Country. And it's kind of the Bible of the Buffalo River. And the first chapter is called From Ponca to Pruitt. And that is the two towns along the Buffalo River. If you were going to canoe from Ponca to Pruitt, you would see all kinds of birds and trees and flowers and whatnot. And in the first chapter of that book, Ken Smith, he just had all kinds of beautiful poetic words. So I pulled a whole bunch of his words from that first chapter and put them in this song. It's called From Ponca to Pruitt.
And by the way, there are lots of critters in this song. But I also wanted to do this in memory of Ellen Compton because, as you might know, Dr. Compton, Neil Compton, and was instrumental in keeping the Buffalo River preserved and
Pristine.
And keeping it from becoming a reservoir. And so we're very thankful for that. And so here we go. With my old wooden paddle, I pushed off the bank from Ponca to Pruitt. We floated that day, and lacework of branches crisscrossed overhead, dropping dogwood blossoms on the riverbed. And a twisted juniper high on a bluff, and a craggy old voice whispered to us, saying, Buffalo River, flow, river across this wild land unspoiled by the hand of man. Them low clinging clouds where they finally disappeared, and droplets of rain glistened everywhere, while the river it danced on its journey downstream, whistling at azalea all dressed in green, and a black and orange redstart, oh blessed be, up in a red bud singing to me, singing Buffalo River, flow, river across this wild land unspoiled by the hand of man. Past another bluff with pillars of stone. We called it the castle, but its real name's unknown. A pinnacle of time, all worn and weathered, like a mighty fortress rising from the river. And high on a dark cliff, gloomy and gray, I swore that I heard an old vulture pray, praying, Buffalo River, flow, river across this wild land unspoiled by the hand of man. We took one more rapid and then one more chute, finally floated down to the last quiet pool, and the bluff there at Pruitt and up around the bend brought our good journey on the river to an end. And honeysuckle waved as we said goodbye, and a wood iris swept, and a water thrush cried, crying, Buffalo River, flow, river, cross this wild land unspoiled for the hand of man. Buffalo River, flow, river, cross this wild land unspoiled by the hand of man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, you're lucky. You're lucky we're not making you do our field. What do we call that when we do the?
I forgot. You haven't been reminding
the
me.
checklist. Oh, that's right.
I had a PowerPoint for Catbird.
Oh yeah, we wanted to make sure you. Yeah. We did this selection of songs for the San Diego Audubon Society over the internet, you know, and they wanted to do they wanted to have a contest, so the people that were watching were all keeping track of every bird and every critter that we mentioned, and they were counting. There was a contest to see who could count the most birds
In all the songs
in all
that
the
we were
songs.
playing.
It was really interesting. So.
Yeah, but we were doing one song called Tick, 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 and throughout the whole song it just goes tick, 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 and somebody counted every single tick in the song. So they had like 400, and they won.
I love to play this song because my mother, Mary Bess, had one favorite song of ours. Not just her favorite bird song, but it was flat out her favorite song that Donna and I played.
We had to play it every time.
Yeah, every time we did a concert, we did this for Mom. And we love it. We play this we really wrote it for children. We often have worked with young people teaching bird watching. In fact, we've been teaching bird watching at the Halberg Ecology Camp, which is an Audubon sponsored event, for 18 years. We've been teaching 11 and 12-year-olds.
And we had a miss last year and this year because of the COVID.
2 years in a row. But we'll be back next year.
We will be.
We're looking forward to it. And we just taught birds over at the Ozark Science Center last week. It's just part of what we like to do. So this is a song that we use as an educational tool for the kids about the bird nest, which are all very different. You know, every bird has its own way of making a nest, and it's called Little Birdie Nest.
Did you ever climb up in a tree when the leaves are popping in the early spring? Find a nest with a bird egg in it? You ever wonder just how they did it?
Did you ever look at that nest real close? Well, ain't it amazing the way it's wove?
Each one is their very own, one of a kind, perfect home. Little bit of sticks and a little blade of grass, little bit of this and a little bit of that, little bit of fur and a strand of hair, a feather or two, laced with care, a little bird beak with a dab of mud. Whole lot of little bird love, lot of hard work, no time to rest for a little bird to build a little bird nest. Now a hummingbird's nest is big as your thumb. Bet you never, ever, 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 ever seen one. They make 'em out of dandelion fluff, glue 'em together with spider web stuff.
And there's an owl they call the elf. Well, she lives in the desert all by herself.
She likes to make her little nest in the hole in the middle of a prickly cactus. Little bit of sticks and a little blade of grass, little bit of this and a little bit of that, little bit of fur and a strand of hair, a feather or two, laced with care, a little bird beak with a dab of mud. Whole lot of little bird love, lot of hard work, no time to rest for a little bird to build a little bird nest. Now, an ovenbird makes a real nice nest hidden in the leaves of the deep forest. And a bowerbird makes a real nice home with things that sparkle like silver and gold. And a barn owl and a barn swallow build their nest in the barn in the hollow.
But those old barns is falling down.
Hope they don't have to build their nest downtown. Little bit of sticks and a little blade of grass, little bit of this and a little bit of that, little bit of fur and a strand of hairy feather or two, laced with care, a little bird beak with a dab of mud. Whole lot of little bird love, lot of hard work, no time to rest for a little bird to build a little bird nest. nest. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think we need to do a bird love song.
That's true. We need to do bird. By the way, I wonder how many. I hope some of y'all go to the botanical garden, the Ozark Botanical Garden, because one of the best kept secrets is something my mom started a long time ago, and that is the bird feeding section way back there in the back, behind the butterfly house, and so it's kind of hidden back there. And Don and I take seed over there every week, and we have been for a long time now, and it's been going for about 7 or 8 years. So it's been very steady. And my point is that it's one of the best places you can go in Fayetteville. Sit down on a bench. Doesn't matter if you have binoculars. You're going to see at least a dozen species of birds very close, right there in front of your eyes. It's just a delightful place to
And
sit.
then we made a little kiosk, and we made little field guides that have just a handful of the birds that you could see, and they're free, and there's little pencils, and you can take one of those and sit there and check off all your birds.
And I've been getting some donations from some people to keep that going, which is so wonderful because it allows me to really be extravagant with the bird food.
Yeah, he gets like sunflower hearts
some of that
that
stuff
are
is
already
better
shelled,
than
so the
what we
birds
eat for
don't.
breakfast,
Yeah,
you
the
know?
birds don't have to work at it. You know, they just have all their some.
It's like trail mix. And you got walnuts and
Yeah,
pecans
they're
and
spoiled.
hazelnuts and you
So,
name it.
anyways, when I met Kelly 25 years ago, I didn't know, I knew relatively very little about birds. And he was working at the War Eagle Mill back then. In fact, he built the paddle wheel that was at the War Eagle Mill, and he was the miller. And
I used to work with Shar a long time ago over there.
yes, she brought us some really
was a
cool
lot.
sacks of the worm. He used to fill those sacks with grain. So, anyways, one time on our very first date, he took me out in the woods and he said he could call the owls. And I was like, "Whoa, that's amazing!" And it was just kind of getting dark and stuff. And he did the call of an owl, and the owl flew in and landed on a branch right above my head. And I went, "Oh, he's an owl whisperer." That did it. So, this is called Call to the Owl.
The barred owls. I can't remember the first word. Can't get a finger.
They walked into the woods as the night came on and the moon was on the rise. He told her that he loved her and that he had a grand surprise. She held her breath as he raised his hands up to the darkening sky. And he called to the owl, called to the owl. Ooh, 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 ooh. Then out of nowhere, like a holy ghost, majestic and silent on quiet wings, the owl flew in for a closer look. Filled with curiosity, perched on a branch above their heads, the owl began to sing. She was amazed that her lover knew a language she had never heard. He and the owl sang to the moon without a single spoken word. For a split second she swore she saw her lover change into a bird. When he sang with the owl, sang with the owl. Ooh, 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 Thank you.
To tell you the truth, I can't do that quite like I did 25 years ago. Somehow or another, I can't get up high enough. Always frustrating.
Sounded good.
It's frustrating. If I get warmed up, sometimes I can get it, but not like it used to be. There used to be a man named, there was an owl prowl in Rogers for years, run by a man
Bob
named
Ross.
Bob Ross. And he would take people out on a trip, and he'd get an owl to come right up to you and start singing with you. And
That's how you learn.
I went with him, and I recorded what he did, and I
Practice.
studied it at
practice.
home, and it works.
Yeah. So we have a couple more songs we're going to do. And, you know, during this last year, during the pandemic, when we were all kind of stuck inside and everything, one of the things that helped us get through literally was getting out and feeding the birds and watching the birds in our own backyard and getting out in nature. And so I wrote this song called Chickadee because the little Carolina chickadee is probably one of my favorite little birds. Talk about the song of the chickadee.
Oh, so the chickadee, of course, is one of the birds named after its song, but that's not really quite true. It's named after its call note. As you might know, birds have a call note and a song almost always, and so, or sometimes they call it the chip note. And for some birds, it's very simple, like a cardinal. It's like, it's very simple little sounds. But for a chickadee, it's chickadee dee dee dee, chickadee dee dee dee.
Says its name.
And you hear that. But what we don't hear very often is the beautiful piping song of the chickadee. And that's more a useful song. That has a very specific purpose.
In the spring when it's in the mood.
It's a romantic song. And so you might have heard this if you're lucky. Once in a while you'll hear this. And it's not just early spring when you hear that. Really, that most of the songbirds will put out maybe 3 broods a summer if things are going well. So
we've been hearing it again.
So you'll hear it once again. Once the first brood's up and running, they do it again. So we thought that really needed to be in the song Chickadee.
We have a little cameo.
So kind of a musical representation of that call is something like that. So this is Chickadee. Sometimes this world closes in on me, all the tragedy, I can't take it. At times like that, I just slip out back and I watch the birds, it's like magic. Sing chickadee so innocently, for the fires of war are still burning. Let your song comfort me, chickadee. Sometimes my list of details is just overflowing, and I can't win, I need rest. At times like these, I fall down on my knees. Mother Nature wraps her arms all around me. Sing, mockingbird, please don't utter a word about the troubles of the world, 'cause I'm resting. Let your song while you sing.
Redbird, come around.
Speak to me of stillness. Sparrow, take me down into your nest. Sing whippoorwill till the night has grown still and the fire in my soul is turned to embers. Let your song comfort me, chickadee. Sing, chickadee, so innocently, for the bells of war are still ringing. Let your song comfort me, chickadee. Chickadee dee 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 dee, chickadee. Chickadee dee 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 dee, chickadee. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank goodness for the birds. That's what got us through the whole pandemic thing, was just getting it to look out there and see those birds, and good medicine for all of us. So we have one more song we're going to share with you, and we're going to end tonight with a very wacky song, I think. It's fun. Donna wrote this.
I have a little toy piano.
It's kind of the signature song of the whole new project, because one reason we did this is that we're concerned about birds. The fate of birds right now in the world is they're struggling, and just like lots of animals are. And we think that people need to pay attention, and we also encourage our fellow artists of different mediums.
Artists, musicians, poets, songwriters, everybody to speak out, just anyone, speak out about the birds. And actually, so when we wrote this song, we found lots of poets and writers and musicians and stuff that were writing or singing about birds. And my favorite artist is called Morris Graves. He's from the Pacific Northwest, and he makes these really abstract-looking birds. But I made my own version. I took wallpaper and kind of made a version that kind of looks like his, except it's with wallpaper.
You never know what Donna's going to be doing.
But you're going to hear, we're going to talk about Mary Oliver. We're going to talk about Kurt Vonnegut. We're going to talk about Morris Graves. We're going to talk about
there's also kind of a
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss. There's also a kind of a laundry list of birds that are on the list that are in decline.
On the rap part, when I do the rap part.
Yeah.
I'm going to be listing birds that are endangered.
It's surprising what some of the birds that are the numbers are going down, even like starlings and house sparrows, and even some of the usual suspects, you would never ever think could be reduced.
But before we wind up, I want to say thank you to our great sound tech out there.
Yes, Nathan,
great
thank
job,
you very
Nathan.
much. Very
Really
nice job.
Super good.
Y'all are in really good hands, I see.
And we want to just thank each and every one of you.
I want to be here and see if he'll be here for Martha's next play.
Yes, we want to come September 1st.
We're big fans of Martha's plays. We've seen
are.
many plays over the years.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tall Paul used to always keep me with a steady supply of
turnips and
turnips.
okra.
And I'm having a hard time not having those turnips this year.
But thank you,
We have
everybody.
a lot of good friends in this room, and thank you for coming out and seeing us, and to all the new folks that we haven't met yet. Nice to meet you finally, and look forward to seeing you again. So
we'll kind of be out here so we can meet.
We'd love to talk to folks afterwards. This is finish up with
the strangest song.
Yeah, it's a little wacky, but I like it. It's called just wacky, like this one right here. And
it's called "Speak for the Birds."
That's right. 1, 2, 3.
Abstract artist Morris Graves, his images of birds are etched in my brain. Remember when Kurt Vonnegut said, I wish we'd all been born birds instead. I adore Audubon's snowy owl, his wonderful drawings of waterfowl. I love Mary Oliver's catbird poem, speaks to my heart, lifts my soul. Musicians, artists, lovers of words, let's paint and sing and speak for the birds. Grasshopper, sparrow, and meadow lark, saw-whet owl praying in the dark. American robin and Franklin's gull, hard to watch your numbers fall. California condor and little field sparrow, the road is long and the path is narrow. Blackbird birds singing in the dead of night, over to the sweet by and by. Dr. Seuss was a hero to me when he made the Lorax speak for the trees. Birds need advocates of their own, a painted prayer, song, or a poem. Maya Angelou sprouted wings when she wrote about how cage bird sings. Photographers everywhere, great big thanks. I love your drawings of the dancing cranes. Remember Prince, when he was alive, sang about how it sounds when the dove cries. Chuck Wheel's widow silently mourning, boat-tailed grackle cries out a warning. His cousin the bobolink at Florida scrub jay, loggerhead shrike fading away. Yellow-billed cuckoo flew tells of rain, bob-white quails forgot his name. Old ivory bills no longer heard, little house wren ain't said a word. Abracadabra, is it black magic? Where are the birds? It seems they vanished. Thrasher, he ain't hanging around. Wood thrush, he ain't made a sound. When Rachel Carson wrote Silent Spring, got the whole world trembling. So many birds down on their luck, pintail and the ringneck duck. Musicians, artists, lovers of words, let's paint and sing and speak for the birds. Let's paint and sing and speak for the birds. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Thank you all for coming tonight.